A serial entrepreneur, he has spent more than 18 years in multiple startups. The list of his entrepreneurship initiatives and previously founded companies looks solid. Then, 2011, when he joined Microsoft and created the Bing Fund a year later. Following this, Microsoft have consolidated their global startup activities under his leadership, launching Microsoft Ventures. We are proud to have him on board today. Please welcome General Manager, Partner, and Venture Partner, RAHUL SOOD.
Rahul, very warm welcome to the Webit stage.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
No, thank you.
I think we're very much alike in
You're actually unusually good looking, Clement. I love your suit. You look
actually, you're very kind. That's the wrong suit for this place.
Yeah.
But I'm flying from stage to stage normally, so I had to find the best solution. Last year, I did this, the opening without the tie and stuff. But then it turned out that I'm not official enough for the digital industry, so I decided to take this year I'll be like this. Next year I hope I'm gonna have the fun to be like you, like I go every day.
Yeah, I get a lot of trouble for how I
don't
dress
look like
at work.
this every day, right? Yeah. Please join me here.
Sure.
I would love to have a quick chat with you around all these. Please have a sit.
Sure.
Wherever you.
Thank you. I'll sit right here. Oh, I'm so tired.
I hope it's nice. Is it comfortable?
It's very comfortable. You can fall asleep here.
Yeah,
it's
and
nice.
we can have some sunbays here.
Yeah.
The sun is nice.
It's a beautiful venue. My goodness, I love this place. It's amazing.
Thank you very much.
Isn't it nice?
We really love the venue here. Yeah, absolutely. And thanks to our hosts for having us here.
Yeah.
It's, I hope you all have the nice networking outside at the area. So we love it. That's why we're in Istanbul. It's amazing. How many venues are there in the world where you can go by boat? Anybody of you, did you come by boat here? Did anybody?
Oh, look at this.
One?
Wow,
Only one,
lucky.
2, 3? All right.
We have a few fortunate people
Usual
in the
suspects,
audience.
come on. Anybody else? Nobody by boat? Guys,
If anybody
the public transport boat stops exactly here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Wow.
Did you come by boat today?
No, I did not come by boat. But for those of you who did come by private boat, raise your hand so we know who to come to for investment. No?
Actually, there are a couple of private boats.
Yeah.
So not here.
Great.
All right, Rahul, I have a bunch of questions for you, and probably there'll be more on the stage. But you founded Voodoo PC.
I did.
And it's been some time ago, and few other companies.
Yes.
Just a few of them.
Just a few.
Yeah. So, tell me about your history of a founder.
Sure. When I started when I was 17, out of high school. I started a company basically out of necessity. I wanted to do something because I like to play with computer systems. And I like to game, so I was a big video gamer. And my parents were insisting, or at least my mom was insisting, that I go to university and become an accountant. So,
how nice.
So I said, like, there's no way I'm going to do that. And basically, I just fell into the idea of creating a computer company that would create very high-end premium products, because I believe that in a very crowded space, you can create a really great brand. And so I wanted to create a premium brand in a commoditized space, and that was ultimately how Voodoo started. Yeah.
So I've already asked Tony about the selection of partners, and how do you really move on, because it's always good to have somebody to help you out, But at the end of the day, when things go well, there are always challenges, whether these are the 2 people or 3 people to go ahead or not. So what makes somebody a good founder, and how the founders are important to the company in general?
So first of all, being an entrepreneur, it's really, you're either born with it, or it's something that it's very hard to learn, I guess, because you have to be a risk taker, first of all, right? So, for example, I was in London the other day meeting some of the startups in our accelerator there, and one of them was having problems with their co-founder, and I said, tell me what your problem is. And he said, well, I've put in $50,000 into the company, and I'm paying him a salary and giving him equity in the company, and now he wants more equity. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like a co-founder to me. Like, if you're going to found a company, you better be willing to eat nothing right? And work very long hours and commit yourself to solving the problem that you care about. If you're in it for the money, then you're not in it for the right reasons. So that's one thing. The other thing is, when we look for companies to bring into our accelerators or invest, or even as an angel investor, I like to look for balanced teams. So, you know, you look for the 3 disciplines. You look for creative discipline, you look for technical, and you look for business. So I like to look for those disciplines as well. But I love when there's diversity on the team. Like, there is not enough women in tech. I keep saying this, right? We need absolutely more women in technology. It's such a big deal because you get a completely different perspective on things, and when you come together, you can create really balanced products that can scale at a much better rate. So when you have a bunch of men in the room who all are engineers, you end up with just shit. So it's good to have diversity. Yeah. So
now, based on your story as a founder, you already got, your company was, you went through acquisition. So, and you always had these, type of dynamic companies you work for. So what is it now to work for this big company?
Well, how do I explain this one? So, I had been involved in multiple startups prior to joining HP, right? I joined HP because they bought Voodoo and they wanted me to stay there for a few years. So it was really hard for me because when I first went to the company, I had never worked in a big company before. The first thing you'll notice when you go into a big company as an entrepreneur is how many lawyers there are in the company. And even like HR and the whole idea of sensitivity training, like I hadn't done any of that stuff, right? And so I would go up on stage and make jokes that were completely inappropriate and not realizing how things work inside a big organization. Being an entrepreneur inside a big company is probably the hardest thing I've ever done. Right. But Microsoft has been really good to me. Microsoft was once king of the world, right? And then, then all the competition came into play, and Google and Apple and all these companies just completely came up, Facebook and whatnot. But what's great about the company is, we have a living founder who's dedicated his life to making the world better. So that's quite inspiring. And that culture sort of emanates throughout the company. And then also when you go there, like everybody is smarter than you. I go there and I'm surrounded by the world's most brilliant people. So imagine being an entrepreneur and working in an environment where you have access to the smartest people in the world, both men and women, and you can basically do whatever you want as long as you're good at it. And so, from that standpoint, it's kind of fun. Yeah.
So, based in your role as the person who is managing the expansion of Microsoft Ventures and the Accelerator program, I would be interested, what would be your approach to discover startups? What we are doing here is we're bringing around 200 startups in the Founders Games. We create opportunity for networking. But how does the startups get discovered, for example, by you?
It's a great question. So, we do just that. So we basically start with discovery. We look for great entrepreneurs. We attend events like this. And we want to discover really great entrepreneurs with great ideas. Everybody wants to. But somehow our formula seems to be working because 80% of the companies that have come through our accelerators get funded. And 40% have got follow-up funding. 80. So our numbers are actually pretty impressive because it's only been running for around 2 years now. But really, what we look for, we don't look for companies who give us numbers. Yeah, even yesterday, I was watching some pitches yesterday on some startups, and one of them came up and said, in year 3, they'll be at $35 million. And I was thinking, wow, that's pretty fascinating. What are you at today? We're at $500, and so that's all bullshit at the end of the day. Like what we look for is we say, first of all, just forget about your numbers. Tell me about what problem you're solving first, right? And if they can be super clear about the problem they're solving, they can tell us how big the problem is. That's number one. Number 2, we then say, okay, tell us about your team. Right? And we want to learn about the team. We want to make sure they're a balanced team. We love it when there's men and women on the team. That's all good stuff. So they tell us about the team. And then the last thing is, when we're having the conversation with them, we try and figure out the psychology. We use our HR teams to help us with this to recruit, but basically we try and figure out sort of the psychology of the person to say, is this person good, willing to take feedback? And I guarantee you, it doesn't take long to figure out if somebody is humble, right? And if somebody is going to demonstrate empathy when it comes to, big issues. And so if we can find an entrepreneur that is humble and empathetic, knows the problem that they're solving and is very clear about it, then they're a very good candidate for one of our accelerators. Yeah.
Okay. How many of you are here feeling like that?
What does that mean? What was the question?
I just wanted to see. I always want to see who is listening carefully.
Yeah. If somebody is, yeah. So if you raise your hand, if you're humble. Okay. People who just raise their hand are not humble.
How many? Okay. So what's your biggest screw up? My favorite question today.
My biggest screw up. Oh, I've had so many. I mean, I've had a lot. I can tell you my most recent one. How's that? Because failure is something that we all, we learn from, I guess. But probably my most recent screw up.
That's why I'm using the word screw up today, not failure. Because failures, they're, you haven't tried enough if you haven't failed enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, real screw up, real decision that you had to take, but you took the totally wrong decision. Because at the end of the day, we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
And these mistakes are often very, very carefully hidden somewhere deep in our,
this is a really hard one to answer, but I'll
business-wise, not personal.
Yeah, business screw up, right? So let me say this.
I know your wife is here, so I don't want to hear about the personal mistakes.
No, we had a large opportunity when Voodoo was built and we were selling to Hewlett Packard. What happened was in 2005, I got a call from Michael Dell at home on Remembrance Day, and I thought that was weird because somebody called the house and my wife answers and says, "Hey, it's Michael Dell on the phone." I said, "Yeah, right, let me pick up the phone." I pick up the phone, he said, "Hi, it's Michael Dell," and I said, "Fuck off," and I hung up the phone, not thinking it was real. But 5 minutes later, I get an email back from him saying, "No, this is Michael Dell, and you want to talk to me about your company or not?" And I freaked out, so immediately I called him back, and we talked, and basically for a month, we were going back and forth on our company, or what we do, our numbers, our vision for the future, and that sort of thing. And what ended up happening was we did not see eye to eye on a strategy, and they wanted to grow their top line revenue, and we wanted to really think about innovation and that sort of thing. So they bought Alienware, which is our second largest competitor. They bought them for something like $400 million. It was a good acquisition for them. And then a few months later, HP just went crazy, and they started like banging down our door to come, let's do a deal, let's do a deal. I think the mistake I made was when we did the deal with HP was we didn't move. Like, we stayed in Calgary. We were from Canada. By the way, any one of you here, if you think you have to go to Silicon Valley to build a company and get discovered, you don't, especially now. I mean, back then, there was no accelerators, incubators, and this sort of thing. Now you can get discovered anywhere. You just build your company, figure out the local problem that you're solving, and go from there. But I digress. The point I'm trying to make is that I didn't move to Hewlett Packard to be inside the company to affect change. Instead, I arrogantly stayed on the outside thinking, I know everything. I know how to build this company. I know what it takes to build a high-performance PC, and these guys will never listen. And it just screwed up the whole thing. At the end of the day, I don't blame them for running over Voodoo. I blame myself. I mean, it sucks. But it was a great acquisition. If all I cared about was money, I'd be really happy. But I love that company so much, I tattooed the logo on my leg. Check it. See? Serious.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's dedication.
Don't show it to my wife. She would like me to tattoo her.
I don't have a Microsoft logo on the other leg.
Okay, that's shown.
Okay.
Okay. Rahul.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks
for being with us. I hope I can have your promise also that if somebody wants to meet you, you're around. So,
I'm around.
You're accessible in the good way of this word, in the good means of this
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank
you.
Thank you.